What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the Morning View. Happy Monday, 7th of October. It is the beginning of the international break, but that does not mean that Erik ten Hag is going to get a piece of minutes, Kip. It doesn't mean he's going to get a piece of calm, because all of the talks are ramping up. Breaking news this morning, Samuel Luckhurst has told us that Man United are lining up Thomas Tuchel as a potential replacement for Erik ten Hag should he be sacked. We know this massive meeting is happening tomorrow. That's, KG calls them the Sinister Six. I mean, let's take out Sir Alex out of that. Let's leave him for a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a bit harsh. Just let Sir Alex be. But you get what KG means. They were all there yesterday, and we speculated on why. And we all know why they're all there. They don't just rock up randomly to Villa Park. It's not the biggest game on the calendar. It's because of how big that game was yesterday in Erik ten Hag's future. And also, they need to talk about what's going on with the future under this manager. And it starts with the Manchester Evening News and Samuel Luckhurst reporting this. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're not new. If you haven't done so already, make sure you do. Get the early likes in. Big up to the community. Big up to everyone. Owen, let's get straight into this, because this is breaking news.
Yes, this is breaking news. I can't be bothered to press the button this morning. I'm past it at the moment. But as you mentioned, Samuel Luckhurst, just in the last couple of minutes, saying that Manchester United are lining up Thomas Tuchel as a potential replacement for Erik ten Hag. Of course, Tuchel was of interest to United in the summer as they contemplated replacing ten Hag, and he's still out of work after leaving Bayern Munich at the end of last season. United admire other candidates who are already attached to clubs, and the attraction of Tuchel is that he is immediately attainable. Officials of the United hierarchy will, of course, hold this aforementioned meeting in London on Tuesday, and Ten Hag expects to hold discussions with the club in the coming days. Now, interestingly, again, this meeting's been going around quite a bit with Charlotte Duncan from The Times. We know Laurie Whitwell, I've said the same thing, that Erik ten Hag's position is under pressure. This meeting is set to take place tomorrow, Tuesday, in London. There is going to be other other meetings taking place in Manchester, I think, today as part of this, as Laurie Whitwell was just saying right there. So there will be a meeting in Manchester tomorrow, because basically everyone, including Joel Glazer's flying in from the United States, Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in from, I think, primarily based in Monaco, actually, isn't he? But they're aiming to meet once a month, and they're going to be doing a one-stop tour everywhere. Now, David Ornstein also said on NBC yesterday that the idea that Manchester United can't afford to sack Erik ten Hag due to financial fair play and PSR regulations is not true. They said obviously it would cost the money, £70 million, maybe a bit under, £15 million, something like that. But the idea that Manchester United are basically stuck and can't get rid of him because of these financial pushbacks is not indeed accurate. Some names that have been linked, in addition to Thomas Tuchel, one's been Simone Inzaghi. David Ornstein saying that he's not been offered the Man United job. He was surprised by the reports. Inzaghi, he doesn't even speak English, and Inter Milan are doing pretty well, aren't they? Gareth Southgate, this other name, the boogeyman that's been thrown around out there. He wasn't a contender, according to David Ornstein, for the United job in the summer, and there's no new information to suggest he would be this time round. But certainly that big story flex regarding Thomas Tuchel, the suggestion that possibly he could be in line to replace Erik ten Hag. I mean, I think it's one of those ones, isn't it, where when you read the report of what he's saying, there's a bit of guesswork going on there. There's a bit of, when you get into the sort of weeds of it, it's not a case of he's been offered the job or anything like that. I think it's Luckhurst reaching out a little bit and going, well, he was offered the job in the summer. It didn't come to pass for whatever reason. On top of that, now, when you're looking at other candidates, the key part is him saying other candidates are appreciated, but they're attached to clubs. And when you are going to talk about the financial element of it, going, it's going to cost a bit if you were to get rid of Erik ten Hag, then it's going to cost a little bit more to bring someone that's already attached to a club. The lure of Thomas Tuchel is the fact that he would be attainable. He could start now. You don't have to go down the interim route, and wait till the end of the season, because sometimes when you reach out to other coaches and candidates, they say yes, but not yes right now. I'll wait till the end of the season, or I'll wait whatever. Thomas Tuchel might not be the case of that. And some would also say, there was that whole stuff made about Jim Ratcliffe and being a Chelsea season ticket holder and this, that, and the other. Well, when he was a Chelsea season ticket holder, he probably saw a lot of Thomas Tuchel. That's probably why he likes him as well. So what do you make of all of this news coming out this morning?
I'm not surprised by it. I think my initial thoughts after yesterday's game away from the game, if you get what I mean, because you have your post-match wrap-up of what happened in the 90 minutes, and then you have another sort of set of thoughts of, okay, so what does this mean? What's the chain of events that will happen now? I don't think it was one of he's going to get sacked on the spot during his post-match interview. It didn't have that feel. It didn't have that feel. I think had we have lost really badly, it would have been that. It definitely would have been that. If we would have got slapped 3-4-0, that would have been whilst he's doing his post-match flash interviews. They would have been writing the P45, like the Ollie one at Watford. It didn't have that. Saw Gary Neville speak afterwards as well. And again, because with the draw and stuff, it's actually 2 draws and not 2 losses. It just had that feeling that I was like, oh, I don't know if they're actually definitely going to sack him after this. They should, in my opinion.
It felt 50-50, didn't it? It felt 50-50.
Yeah.
It felt like, well, I could see why maybe they wouldn't.
Exactly.
I think they should, but I can see why they might make the excuse not to go down that route kind of thing.
Exactly. And then you go and then start, people start putting, and this is not like gaslighting or anything, it's just the fact. People start putting up our next run of games. And like our next run of games are like, basically, some people were billing that as like the last hurrah. They're sort of saying in the first 6 games, you had Liverpool, Spurs, and someone else that was hard. And they were like, 3 out of them, a Villa, sorry. That's 3 teams that are quite hard. And this, it was a pity piece, but I'm just saying what I saw. And I just thought, no, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Don't just try and amend the situation to have an easier fixture list, because in the next batch of games, we've got Brentford, Fenerbahce away tough, West Ham, Leicester in the Cup, Chelsea home, PAOK at home, Leicester home in the league, Ipswich away, Bodo Glimt, and Everton home. So that they're sort of suggesting is like, well, that can, you can stabilize.
That's bollocks, isn't
it?
That's bollocks.
Exactly.
We've played easy teams in this run.
Exactly.
We still haven't won all the games that we should have necessarily been winning. Everyone's being like Palace in that at the moment. We couldn't do that, could we? We played Twente at home, couldn't win that one. So why are we just
2-0 up against Porto?
Why are we just assuming that that's the case? I mean, you mentioned the Gary Neville quotes. I've actually got them up. We can see what he said. Because I was really, I wasn't taken aback. Sometimes he can play it quite down the line, be a bit political with his answers. But I was quite surprised with some of the stuff he was saying. So he was, after the game, he was like, it's a small step forward. Before the game, if you offered any Man United fan, player or coach a draw, they would have snapped your hand off. That's where at the end of the game, when you see Erik ten Hag's interview, there's an element of relief, because it keeps the Wolves at bay for a couple of weeks at least. It gives them a little bit more time. He said, I don't think anybody who thought a major incident would happen after the game thought it would happen with a draw. They always thought it would need to be a difficult day or a difficult defeat like it was last week against Tottenham. I think it buys Ten Hag a little bit of time. He says it's Manchester United's worst start in Premier League history, so we can't celebrate when we're thinking it's a decent point when you draw at Villa. It tells you how far Villa have come, but it also tells you how low the bar is for United in this moment in time. And
this moment in time.
But when he was saying about, it's kept the Wolves at bay, I was going, no, it hasn't. I was going, no, it hasn't. I mentioned after the game yesterday, I went, but this is why going into remember on Red Carpet last Monday, I said the 2 results coming up are irrelevant to me, because we've done this basing Erik ten Hag's future on one game. We did it with the FA Cup final. And in retrospect, that was the wrong decision to make. That was the wrong thing to do, because and people were saying at this time, and fair play, they were right. They were saying you can't base it off one game. You have to go with the majority of the evidence. Where's the most evidence here? What's the bigger sample size? Can't do it just off one game. And look at yesterday. I see people going, yeah, but Villa are a good team and a point away from home. They're in the Champions League. They're in the top 4. That's a good point. You go, wait, what? You're going, we've got our worst start to a Premier League season ever. We've broken our own record from him from last season, which is the definition of regression. You have got worse than the worst ever. We've scored 5 goals in our opening 7 games. That's the least amount of goals we've ever scored at this time in a Premier League season. We are 14th in the league. We have a -3 goal difference. And because we drew, that means the Wolves are at bay. It shouldn't matter. The results shouldn't matter. Take stock of what you're seeing right now. Look at the bigger picture. Take a step back of just focusing instead on the 90 minutes. Why does it have to be based on, well, if we'd have lost 3-0, then yeah, that would have, then he would have got the sack.
That's the reason. But because it's 0-0 in a shit draw, that's fine.
What we're saying, because basically, if we'd have lost, we'd have still had the worst start to a Premier League season ever. But because we drew and we've had the worst start to a Premier League season ever, that's okay. It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. That is an illogical argument to make, that just because we drew, then that's fine. Remember, we were going into this. We were going our next 2 games, right? Like if he is going to determine the next 2 games, he's got to get 6 points. You got 2. You got 2, and suddenly the threshold has been dropped, and it's, well, actually that's passable. That doesn't work in an exam. Imagine that. You need 70% to pass. Well, I got 40. That's right. Well, it's not.
Shit. It's not right. It's just below the threshold, mate.
You failed.
We haven't won since Barnsley 7-0. We haven't beat a team since then. That's absolutely shocking. And we've played Palace, who are not great. We've played FC Twente, who you're supposed to destroy at home. We've been absolutely destroyed by Spurs at home. We're 2-0 up against Porto. And okay, yesterday was a 0-0 draw at Villa, which some people claim is a good point because Villa are really good and they just beat Bayern Munich. Like, we have to open our eyes and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. Look, Gary Neville is on the task force. Yeah, he's live on Sky. So he often doesn't say the brutal reality. He finds a way to mix it up quite nicely, to sort of do the shit sandwich. You know, start good, then a little bit of criticism in the middle, and then end on a high. Yeah, that's what he does, because that's what he has to do. You know, and on top of that, he always says, which he sticks by, I never call for a manager to be sacked. I never say a manager should go. So I've never done it in my 12, 15 years on Sky. I'm not going to start doing it now. So that's fine. Really, when he speaks, we almost have to take that with a pinch of salt. The back bit of what he was saying, or like I say, the middle bit, was how low the bar is. That shows how far Villa have come and how shit Man United are, but essentially. That bit's true. So there's an element of truth. But then you go, like you said, Owen, complete bollocks of, but it keeps the Wolves away, keeps them at bay bollocks. It's all crap. It's all total crap. Because it hasn't kept the Wolves at bay, has it? Because the people who make the decisions are meeting up tomorrow, mate. The people who make decisions, according to Samuel Luckhurst, are lining up potential suitors. Do you know what I mean? The Wolves are not at bay. So it shouldn't buy him more time. But that was my worry after that game, though. I'm not going to lie. I was more like, maybe they won't sack him. And this is where we do look at INEOS now. This is where we have to look at them and say, I tell you what, and people told, again, maybe we might have to take another L soon, Owen, because people were telling us to, in the summer, stop celebrating them. You know, they've done this, they've done that, but what does it mean, etc. And we pushed back and said, look, for what they've done since they've got here, off the pitch, they've done it. Like, that has happened. Fair play. Tick. 1 tick, not 2. Can't go 2 extra. Can't get too carried away. 1 tick. They've fucking done it. So you can't say that they haven't. Yeah. But now we're looking at it, well, they did make the decision, excuse me, to keep backing Erik ten Hag and spend money on him. And now we're seeing that signings from that can't even play. Xerxes looks like we're clutching at straws saying he holds the ball up well, this, that, and the other. No defender scared of him in the league. Just call it as it is. The team, I'm not saying get rid of him and this, that, and the other, but the Man United level of forwards, we're going into games and he needs to find his feet. They've still got room to grow. They're way off it. Him and Rasmus are way off like that level. They can grow into it. Team's got to be better, etc., better coach. But just on that, they brought Xerxes in. It's like, okay, he's all right. There's a little bit of help. Ugarte can't even get anywhere near the field. And De Ligt now has been ripped out the team because he's struggling. And Maguire's been put back in. So that's where we're at with the signings. Let's be real. So also, you look at that and you go, well, if you're looking at Tuchel, if you're lining up replacements and you're looking at us being present at Villa Park, and you can see this is our worst start, like you said, Owen, he's undone his own record. If you can see all that and you keep him in, you are now complicit. That's what I was going to say. And people, and this is the other thing, you know, people going, well, the stuff with the injuries last season, well, that's not the case now. So we've done a worse start than what was excused last season for injuries with a team full of his players, which, by the way, he doesn't want to play anymore because they're not playing very well. I mean, it's a bizarre situation. And you're right. I would say that if INEOS use yesterday's and literally base Erik ten Hag's future based on one result
a draw away at Villa Park, and then they go, well, he didn't lose, so that's why we won't get rid of him, then that to me is not making a decision out of fear. You're looking for an excuse. You're looking for a reason to go.
That's worse than the cup final back in.
I don't really. Well, because it was only if he lost yesterday. What does that? What does that mean? Again, so we're tolerating that, and this is the other part of this. When you talk about the worst start to the Premier League season ever, we talk about 5 goals after 7 games. You talk about all of these negative records that we're breaking or setting. Then the pushback to that is, well, time and come on, it's some people talk about clean sheets, or some of them are draws. Really? Some of them draws? Or so you want Man United? You expect Man United to win the Premier League? Nobody was going into this season thinking Man United's going to win the league. We know where we are.
Just don't want to be fucking 14th.
But we don't. I don't have to scroll down to the second page to look at where my team is in the league, because I know people can do the whole standards on the floor thing, but that is not tolerable. You cannot tolerate that. 14th. Going into the second international break of the season, and spare me the comparisons. I've seen the clips going around going, well, in Arteta's 3rd season, they were bottom of the league after 3 games. 3, not 7, not 10 in all comps, by the way. And that turned around. It's just, and at that point was Arteta, his signings he was putting in the team, was he going, actually, I don't want him. I'll actually have Kolasinac at centre back. I'll actually have, those people that they did get rid of. Of course not. Of course
going
not.
back to the shit they were trying to get rid of.
There is no comparison to this situation. People like to try and make these comparisons, to try and force it, to make them feel better. But there is no feeling better about this situation. It was, me and KG spoke about it on the Trinity, the sunk cost fallacy, which is I've invested so much mentally, physically, emotionally, financially into this situation, so I've got to make it work. Whereas the reality is, abandon it. You're better off doing something else and starting over again. People are scared of starting over again. People do the whole cycle thing, and we do these catchphrases. I'll draw up my bingo card, break the cycle. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose players, Van Gaal players, Fergie got time. This is how long it took Fergie to get trophies, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you have to, like you said, wake up, smell the coffee and go, you know what? This ain't working. This ain't working. And that's not to say, by the way, if it is Thomas Tuchel, that's not to say that it would work out with him. We don't know. But also, we can't not assess other options once again out of fear, going, well, if this guy comes in, what if it doesn't work out with him? If it doesn't work out with him, then you keep trying and keep trying and keep trying until it does work. But what you can't do is, again, out of fear, just be like, well, no, we can't pick up a manager. Why? Because the last ones didn't work. Well, if that's the case, then shut the club down. Why bother? Why bother at all?
Yeah. A couple of super chats here. Avi says, so essentially we are Chelsea now. Chop and change till it's right, FC. I thought United were above it. We are in pain already. Bite down and deal. And Show says, I'll keep it 100. I've not been impressed with INEOS so far. Ugarte and Xerxes are mid-signings. Bruno, new contract. Tuchel would top it off. Please smash a like on the video, guys, as well. We're at 373 likes, over 2K watching live, which is great. Do drop a like on the video, peeps. Avi, to go back to what you said there, sorry, Big Z just comes in with a super chat there, says, don't want that die-hard villain Tuchel. No longevity, won't last 2 seasons, no options inspire any optimism, and will be a massive rebuild if Erik ten Hag is sacked. Again, I think we're trying to literally doing what Owen just said. Like, we're scared to move on out of this guy might be this or this guy might be that. Neil says, 1 game at Villa shouldn't decide Erik ten Hag's future, just like 1 game in May shouldn't have held such a significant bearing. And I agree with that.
Which is what I said earlier on. Earlier. That's me going, I tell you what, actually, I've learned from that. Going, actually, 1 game can't do that, so I'm not going to do it again. But the previous super chat put it right there. Or someone is in the chat says, CH saying, you said Erik ten Hag out of fear. That's got nothing to do with fear. Saying Erik ten Hag, we shouldn't get rid of Erik ten Hag because other managers haven't worked out. That is out of fear. Saying we need to do something different is going, opening my eyes and going, actually, you know what? This isn't working. I'm looking at the table going, this isn't working. I'm looking at yesterday and people go, it's a good point away from home, blah, blah, blah. But the reality of the situation was you had 2 teams with the lowest XG in 2 years in a Premier League game. The reality is that actually, if Aston Villa showed up, they'd have probably beat us yesterday. But they didn't. It was a terrible game of football. I mentioned it on the full-time view too. It felt like one of those games where The United players were there, like with like those last games in the Jose era or the Ollie era, where they're there, they're standing there, they're waiting for the beating, they're waiting for the loss to come. And yesterday, it just never came.
Yeah,
it just never really came. So when now
you look
like
at Villa
said,
midweek, they had a massive energy zapping game against Bayern Munich, and you could sort of say, "I tell you what, put a bit off it." And you say, I said it at the end of the game. I was like, the way the two managers will talk about this respective point will tell us everything we need to know. And it's like, Unai Emery will be looking at that like points dropped, Man United there for the taking. We dropped below our level, giving away passes. We're sloppy on the ball. We didn't create much. That's not our normal level. There's enough sample size under Unai Emery to say that is not what we do here under me. Like, that was a bad performance. And I'm not saying the Villa fans will get onto them because they're in dreamland. They've been doing absolutely brilliantly, by the way. The Villa fans will have patience and be like, listen, we just beat Bayern Munich on Wednesday night, mate. It was amazing. Like, we can't win them all. We can't win them all, right? So the Villa fans will be fine. But when you look at us, you go, no. That was a minuscule improvement on how shit we are. Being able to be compact and not concede 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in a game and be organized, that's how low our bar is. So our manager's looking at that like, you can see resilience, see? Fighting, see, clean sheet, mate. 30. Berbatov said it. He said, "I'd be embarrassed." He said, 36-year-old Johnny Evans is embarrassed the rest of the team. He's man of the match. Our man of the match was Johnny Evans, and that is no plight on Johnny Evans, by the way. What a servant to the football club, and what a top pro. And his interview afterward was absolutely brilliant because he just gets it. And if some of these other players played the game in that way, with that mindset, with some of the ability they have, we would be in a much better place. Because at 36 years old, he's saying, listen, the pressure that comes with it, it's a privilege. This is Man United.
And also as well, Flex, again, there was the super chat there about, or I think it was members chat, said about chopping and changing. Eric Ten Hag is the 7th longest reigning tenured manager in the Premier League. These fallacies, this is the other part of it. We just make shit up. Again, out of fear to not make these difficult decisions. I'm looking at Arne Slot coming in. He's been there for a couple of months. They're like top of the league. I know Chelsea didn't win yesterday, but you can see at least the team's starting to be built in an image. And I've criticised Chelsea massively. Nowadays football's changed. It's not. This is also why these comparisons to like Sir Alex Ferguson in the 80s and early 90s they're just not comparable anymore. We're chopping and changing. I really would hope, after 2 seasons into a third, a lot of money spent, a squad completely in his image, to not be, call me crazy, 14th in the Premier League, a minus goal difference again, back-to-back worst starts to a Premier League season ever, and also lowest amount of goals scored. They're
and
his
the laughing
players
stock of the league
again, and he's the 7th longest tenured manager. So what are we chopping and changing? Frankly, we've chopped and changed everything else at this point as well.
Yeah.
So we've got to get out of that mindset too of, well, we're not that kind of club that would chop and change. We're not that kind of team. Where's it got us right now? Where has it got us?
Yeah.
It hasn't. Carry on.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
I forgot anyway.
Oh, it's fuming.
Because it's bollocks, Flex. Because I've honestly, I'm going to do it actually. Or Josh, if you're watching, because I want it to be, us at United View, I want it to be high quality. I want to get these bingo cards made, with all of these phrases, because I guarantee they'll be appearing now. Do you see them all the time, all the time? And they're just words. They are just words. And then you go, right, what does that actually mean? And then you get into it and you go, actually, it's nothing. Like when we've got a really young side, and it was like when we played against Porto, our average age was like 27. Our midfield was like Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. What a young side, was it? Our back four were all in their mid-20s, and our goalkeeper was 28.
Yeah, it's just bollocks.
What's this young side you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or their cycle, break the cycle. What are you talking about? It's nonsense. They're not his players. These are Jose players. These are Ollie players. These are Louis
that
Van
one
Gaal
there,
players.
the same players getting the manager sacked. One pisses me off.
It's not true. It's
one's crazy.
Not
Over
true.
600 million spent. Yeah, all these different signings. You've got all these guys who either played under you, are Dutch, or have some sort of attachment to you, co-signed from you. You've brought in players, and now some of them don't even play anymore. And there's a couple of people there from the old guard who, again, Lindelof's been out injured. Maguire's strict to the captaincy, doesn't play that much anymore. Luke Shaw, always injured. It's only really Rashford and Bruno. So you're telling me that, and Dallow's just a good servant. He's not a bad egg. So you're telling me, and I'm not even saying that it's all Bruno and Rashford's fault, but this is what people are suggesting. Bruno and Rashford are that contagious that this is all their fault. As badly as they've been playing, by the way, Bruno, I agree, should have some time out. We all saw it last year with Rashford. I don't need to go into the inconsistencies of player A and player B. You know what I'm talking about here. But you're telling me that these two players from the old era, it's all their fault.
This is the
it's
one.
All their fault.
This everyone that's rubbish as well. I tell you what, if Erik ten Hag gets sacked, it's gonna be just because of player FC. What a load of horse shit that is. And then, because I tell you what, is the opposite of player FC, which is, and this is what we need to fix going forward as well, whenever a new guy comes in, manager FC, yeah? Because they're both as bad as each other. They're mirror images, yeah? Player FC's here, managers FC's here. It should be Manchester United FC in the middle, yeah? I don't care about specific players. I don't care about specific managers. If a player isn't doing their job or they're not performing, then they should be moved on. If a manager isn't performing and doing what they're supposed to be doing, they should be moved on. That's not even a football-centric thing. That's a life-centric thing. If you are an employee, whether you're the lowest of the low or the highest of the high in an organization, if you're not doing what you're meant to be doing or performing the way you're meant to be performing or getting the results you're meant to be getting, you will be put under performance review. And if you do not improve, you will get sacked. That is the way the world works. And I don't understand why when we win, it's tactical genius from the coach. When we lose, it is poor performance from the players. That makes no sense.
No. And once again, we are always a game away, 2 games away from complete catastrophe. That tells you that we've made no progress. The reason why Mikel Arteta was afforded the benefit of the doubt was that couple of seasons back in, but then he gradually moved further away from the point of you're not making any progress here until it's unquestionable progress. What the fuck have we been doing? We've just been teetering on the edge of there's a bad result round the corner. And again, you only got to look at the stat from before of how many times we've conceded 3 goals or more. That stat, what was it? 25 times or some bullshit like that. That one.
Yeah.
Like there's no other, right? And again, I had a joke about this with Abby the other day, but it's essentially I do that to wind her up, but it turns out it's true. There's no other big club, and Spurs, I said that they don't count because they're not a big club, but let's just be honest about it. There's no other big team, right? Especially us because we're the biggest, that's gone through these types of changes, right? This bad, like this embarrassing. Like, honestly, like Chelsea, even in their recent history, have won the Champions League. Like only like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, was it in COVID, right? They've won the Champions League, bro. Like with Thomas Tuchel, like they had some signs. And then don't get me wrong, it all went to shit because the Roman Abramovich thing, and then it all went crazy, right? And since then, they haven't had any stability. But now you look at their manager and you look at some of the forward line that they've got and Cole Palmer, you can see a little bit of something, right? Arsenal, AFTV every week, popcorn peeps. We used to pull up every single game ready to laugh at these lot. And yeah, we can push back now and say, what have you won? You ain't won nothing. This, that. When it's time to defend ourselves out in the open, that's fine. But this is in-house, guys. This is us talking to each other on a level. The Arsenal fans ain't here right now. Some of them probably are, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, this is us. I'm telling you now, we'll much rather be them. I don't care. I'm sorry. People keep saying about trophies. I know you can say until they win something. I would much rather look at my team and know we're a good, proper team with proper players, a proper manager, and we've got a chance of winning top honours because we're knocking at the door consistently, rather than do what we've done at this cost. You look at Liverpool. Even they've had a couple of times where we've laughed at them. I think they finished 5th once, didn't they? When they had to get in the Europa League, but they bounced back straight into the Champions League. They're winning Carabao Cups. They're winning FA Cup. They're competing. They're going deep into Europe. Do you know what I mean? They're doing it. They're always there. And City is City. Even Spurs, mate. Even Spurs. Like, to be fair, they're not a good benchmark because that's why I laugh, because they are Spurs.
But then that's the funny thing though with Spurs, isn't it?
Is that what we are then now? We want to be like them.
We mocked them. They pumped us last week.
They pumped us up. And then they went back to being shit the next week. So how shit must we be?
And the crazy thing is, yeah, I've seen people going, well, this great Spurs, they're only 2 points ahead of us. You go, and they beat us 3-0 at home. what does that mean? I think this is also the thing of people going, oh, because it's only a few games into the season, so we're all technically 6 points off top 4. The way things are going, that gap's going to get exponentially bigger. And I'm also tired. We are could have, would have, should have FC. We are, because how many times, how many games, and even now we go, but if, or if this happened, or that happened, but if we scored those goals against Palace, or if that penalty wasn't given, or if this red card didn't happen, or if this didn't happen, well, guess what? It fucking did. It did happen. We've got to stop living in the what if, the fantasy land of, because if we live in the fantasy land, Fergie never retired. We're still top of the league. We're winning Champions Leagues. But it did. Yeah. We eventually we have to slap ourselves in the face and reality and go, actually, this is what's going on. Not the hypothetical.
Another one, Imran
not the
says
hypothetical stuff.
Not the hyper. Exactly. Here's another one. Imran says Arsenal were worse. They didn't hear the Champions League theme for years. No, they didn't. And when we heard it, what did we do? We fucking come bottom of the group, mate. Our worst ever finish in the Champions League campaign.
And by the way, with that, again, this goes back to the comparisons. That doesn't make it okay then. Oh, okay, because Arsenal didn't play in the Champions League for 5 years or whatever, so we can't as well. So we won't. Well, that's all right then. It was all right for them, so it'll be all right for us. But at the same time, you want to go, we're not Arsenal, we're better than Arsenal, but apparently we're allowed to do what they did. They were out of the Champions League for 5 years, so we should tolerate it. That should be fine. What is that?
But standards.
We can't talk out both sides of our mouth when it comes to that. You know, that part of it. It's just. I cannot wrap my head around it. For me, like I said, where's my lead judge's soundbite again? Because that's all it is, Flex. Yeah, this is all it is.
Excuses.
That's it.
It is. Someone here, Neil, because I said about Tuchel, reposted it. No, we need to stop this managerial merry-go-round. Stick with someone for 4 seasons at least. This all started when we got rid of Moyes too early. We're trying to compare the team with the Sir Alex Ferguson era. It's not. So we need to build slowly. Neil, what the fuck? And this is just on X, by the way. Someone just responded to me. Neil, we need to stop the managerial merry-go-round. Stick with someone for 4 seasons at least. Well, let's get another 8th place finish then. Let's do that. We want to be like Arsenal, so let's get back-to-back 8th.
Exactly. They finished 8th twice, so that's all right for us. You see what I mean? When you actually go, all right, so wait a minute, what are you saying here? And then when you actually space it out and lay it out, it makes no sense. Like, it makes 0 sense when it comes to it. 0. I had someone say to me on X yesterday saying progressing isn't about improving. I went, what? I've got to get off this.
So what is it then? What is progress?
I literally, when I looked at that, I went, I'm going to have a look at the definition of progression. And progression was moving forward. And the opposite, obviously, is regression, which is moving backwards. And I thought, like, so we're not progression. It's not about improving. What?
And a couple of super chats here. Quite a few. Oh, not a couple. Quite a few. Let me go back. Argan. Oh, is yours like glitching out a little bit? Mine is with the likes, and it's probably just moving a bit.
Probably Flecknology.
I don't know. Aegon, the Conqueror Targaryen, says keeping wolves at bay. Yeah, King Aegon. Yeah, mate, from House of Dragons. Keeping wolves at bay. Yeah, they are 7 points away from us. Oh, mate. Big Z says we look like a cornered dog fighting for its life. Players look like they work extra hard not to concede and struggle to score. Painful and losing hope. Harry says, reminder, we hired Ten Hag for this record in the Champions League. For his record in the Champions League. Thumbs down. TR33 says, who's the best player at Man United in your opinion?
Good God, I have no idea.
That's so. Do you know how mad that is that you can't just go, it's him?
Yeah,
it's him. Yeah. Mate, I don't know. Johnny Evans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pound for pound, because he shouldn't be doing what he's doing at his age. I'm going to say
in terms of expectation versus reality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And consistency. Every time he plays, he's consistently
you want to talk about outperforming your XG, outperforming your expected ability. Johnny Evans.
Yeah, Johnny Evans, mate. Our best player is Johnny Evans. Jason says that funny enough, if Woodward was still in charge, Ten Hag would have been sacked a long time ago. Maybe so. M. Sarti says, not really. I want trophies, not being another Arsenal or Spurs. Well, if you want trophies at this cost, and let's be honest, it's not the top draw trophies. I'm not disrespecting the FA Cup, but we're in no position to be getting Champions League because we're not even in it, and we're in no position to be winning the league because look at us. So really, you'll be happy just collecting potential Europa Leagues at best,
and maybe even that flex,
into conference, Carabao Cup.
Even the Europa League thing, we have to reevaluate our status of that competition because
exactly. Look at us.
And again, I hold myself accountable with this. Where do we get off thinking we could win the Europa League when we've won one game in 10 European football matches, but we're going to win the Europa League and even a lesser edition of the Europa League as well, no Champions League teams. We need to get our heads checked with that. Our record in Europe's horrible, but we can't beat FC Twente at home. But we're gonna win the Europa League. My goodness me! I mean, that's not great.
Exactly. Stop this. Tuchel is a bum coach. I think Ten Hag needs sacking too, but we can't go for the next worst thing. Says Nagola. I'm going to say, why is he a bum coach? Like what? Look, I just don't.
That fella says, why can't we win the Europa League? It's a cup competition. Negative. Because it's a league format and we can't do piss all in the league. That fella. I don't know if you've noticed. In the Europa League, do you want me to tell you our actual position in the Europa League table right now?
Yeah, what is We've got 2 points. So what's that? Where does that put us? How many teams is it?
We are 21st in the Europa League table as things stands. It is not a cup competition at the moment. It is a league format. We can't do nothing in a league. We haven't won a game in the Europa League at the moment. And we've had Twente at home and Porto away. So what are we talking about?
Our goal difference would be 0 in there, isn't it?
It's 0. Yeah, it's 0. Still not positive in that competition either. And this is what I mean. It's these
progress, mate.
These pushback. Progress is not about improvement, Flex. Okay, progress is moving in any direction. It's like
Big Z says can't stand Arsenal, but you could see what they were trying to do under Arteta in seasons 2 and 3. We look clueless and squad on its last legs. Exactly. It's so worrying that Erik ten Hag's had such a big say over the transfers, and he's basically, guys, he's undoing them in front of our very eyes. He's undoing his own work in front of our very eyes, guys. Like, I know we can say, like, because the pushback is also you moan that he takes players out for bad form, like De Ligt and Martinez were rubbish. Like, yeah, I get that. But it also shows that, you know, these are under your stewardship. These are your guys. So you've taken them out. That doesn't look great. Anthony's, you know, I couldn't believe he came off the bench yesterday, you know, but he's been in the wilderness. Casemiro is gone now. You've gone back to Eriksen after getting rid of him. Like, you don't know what your best... You ain't got a clue. You ain't got a clue what you do. What's the plan? What's the plan?
There isn't
These
one.
are your signs. Ugarte can't get near it. So with Ugarte, I said it on the show yesterday. I was like, he must be in training and being way off it. I mean, look, we've got to trust Erik ten Hag's judgment on this, and his judgment hasn't been good with a lot of stuff. But he's in training. He must be getting run past, or he keeps talking about he needs to get used to English football. But last 2 games, not a minute.
By the way, are people
Big
in the
games.
chat seriously justifying finishing 21st as qualifying for the playoff stage in the Europa League?
Oh, yeah. 24th.
What are we doing here, guys? What the fuck?
Well, Owen, it's true. You don't. If you come 1st or 24th in that thing, it doesn't matter. You go through to the round of 16.
I know, but does that not sum us up at the moment? Where the natural reaction is we're 21st in the Europa League table, and the reaction is, well, it gets you to the playoffs. Like what? What are we doing? Oh my god! It's mad. It's proper mad. And yeah, you mentioned about, you know, the plan. What is the plan? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is at the moment. It really does feel like it is just throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks. You know. And did it stick yesterday? Ish.
Yesterday was just sheer. It felt like, I tell you what, yesterday felt like, and this is why it's even more unforgivable. Yesterday felt like the last 2 games, or say 3 games, including the Arsenal game, last 3 games of last season after Palace, where we went, oh my God, we got to have a plan here. There's loads of injuries. I just got to throw a team together. People are playing out of position, or it's not the best. It's not really my vision. It's not really my plan. But just stay compact and don't get beaten. Just get to this FA Cup final, stifle teams and hit them on the counter. That's what it feels like. But then only this year it's another, 300 million spent in the summer, or 250 odd million spent in the summer. Injuries are back. It's only really Mason Mount and Luke Shaw that are out injured, and they were out injured all last year, so there's no difference there. That's it. That's it. With more options to choose from. So with more options to choose from, with better players to choose from a good window, you've gone back. You've gone back to the thing that was just like just to stop us dying last year. That's what it showed us. It showed us at Villa, you just didn't want us to die. And again, it's because he knows he is so close, one game, literally yesterday, away from the chop. So it's like, don't lose this. That's not your vision. That's not how you want to play. That's not your idea for us. And when you do have your idea for us, we get 3-0'd twice. Liverpool Spurs, easy. Like, we concede a shed load of goals.
And the other part of it is there is a lot, when it comes to this. I've had this in the last 24 hours talking about this, going like, this is not working. Go in a different direction, and you get a lot of pearl clutching involved. I'm so disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you. I can't believe you said this.
What does that mean? What does that fucking mean?
And then the response to that is your negativity. I don't know if you've heard this, Flex. Your negativity is causing some of these performances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Us saying that the players are playing shit because they are playing shit, it's causing them to play shit. So if you say this whole thing is not working, this whole thing is rubbish, that's causing them to not be able to pass the ball 5 yards. That's causing Eric Ten Hag to have to be swapping out centre-backs and going rotation, even though they're some of his guys, or causing when Rashford's getting a goal and assist in the Europa League, taking them off half-time and going rotation. That's, I'm so disappointed in you. Why are you being negative? Don't talk negative. And it's the response to that is, would you rather be lied to? You'd rather be lied to. Let's sit here. Again, let's go back into the hypothetical land. We are not 21st in the Europa League. We are not 14th in the league. Our goal difference is positive, and we're going to win the league.
Don't be deluded, Owen. Don't be deluded. Live in the real world.
Oh, no, because you Flex. You can't. If I say something positive, the players will pass the ball 5 yards. That's nearly as bad as me saying you shaking hands with people is calling people to lose, like causing us to lose or get injured.
Yeah. Big Z says, admit it, would be hilarious if we finished 17th and somehow won Europa League. You would still go on DR Sports and rub it in everyone's faces who didn't win, Flex. Look, back to what Owen was saying. Look, of course, if we do finish that league thing, yes, of course. If you finish low in it, you just got to get through to the round of 16. That's when it actually starts. And if you're not getting to the round of 16 with this new format, just get out. Control, delete, mate. Like, seriously, just get out. Then it is about that. But let's be honest, guys. With how we are, do we really think in the big pressure moments when you go away to who's even in the Europa League who's good? I don't even know. I haven't even looked. Doesn't even matter. We just went to Porto, mate. So that's
not on top of that. If we ended up playing Spurs, we've already lost 3-0 to them this season.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So we played them home and away, or are Fiorentina in it? I don't know. I don't even know who's in it. I don't know. But you Fenerbahce, there you go. You go away to them, home and away or whatever. Are you confident?
That's the thing I was going to say. You mentioned with Ugarte. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and it's ironic because he plays for Jose now. But you know when we bought Fred back in 2018, and he played like 1 or 2 games, and then he just never played for Jose again, pretty much. Yeah. It feels like that. It feels like Ten Hag's maybe played him a couple of games, seen him in training, and has gone, no,
exactly. It's mad. Like, because the fact that he's not got any minutes in 2 like tougher, he played in Portugal. He played for Sporting, mate. He knows what it's all about to go to the Estadio de Dragao and put in a good performance. He's played for fucking Sporting. He knows that like the back of his palm. The fact that Eric went, no. Rather go over Casemiro, Eriksen and that, mate. And then again, Villa away. These are the games that we bought him for. These games here. So obviously they haven't been happy with his start. What they've seen from him on the pitch, they don't think he's ready. Against, was it Southampton and Barnsley he played against? No, he came on a bit off the bench against Southampton.
Yeah.
Did he start against Spurs? Yeah, he started against Spurs. So clearly in that they went, no, he's not ready. He's not ready. And okay, cool. You're in training every day. But again, that's alarming. That's alarming. What's going on? What's going on in training? What it was before this was Casemiro's the scapegoat against Liverpool going into the international break. He should never play for us again. Get him out. We need Ugarte. He's got legs. This won't happen when he's here. And like you said, we all said, Ugarte is not going to be the second coming of Christ. He's not going to fix all of this. And lo and behold, he's played 3 games, 1 game against League One opposition, a little bit of a game against Southampton to shore it up, and absolutely destroyed against Spurs. And now we ain't seen him since. Yeah. So, and now Casemiro's back in. So what are we doing here? And now Kobe is looking like, I tell you what, he might need a bit of time out. Like the team's so dysfunctional. It's like
most consistent starting midfielder, and I say consistent in terms of the one that's getting picked most, is Christian Eriksen.
Yeah,
which is which I don't think anyone expected going into this season.
And he deserves it. He's playing all right.
By the time it gets to October, the name you'll see most often in midfield will be Eriksen. You'll be like, what? Really? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Shenanigans says Tuchel finished 3rd and 4th, won the Champions League, Super Cup, Club World Cup, and got to two FA Cup finals and Liga Cup final and League Cup final in just 2 years at Chelsea. Get me Tommy T. And Tabra says Ugarte giving me Mkhitaryan vibes. He ain't it. And Harold says I wanted Erik ten Hag out after 52 goals in this last season. Did he score 52 last season? Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what those. That's just a smash up of letters, isn't it? Yeah.
It's
52 goals. 52 goals for last season, maybe. Yeah.
I just, and do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like you just look. Honestly, you just look at like all the records that have been broken, all of the proof that's in the physical pudding. Like it's not, these aren't hypotheses. These aren't hypothetics. Like this isn't like hypothetical going, it might be this. No, this is what it is in front of us. You know what I mean? Ten Hag broke the Bayern and PSG dominance. Chelsea stent overrated due to Champions League stint. Overrated due to Champions League win. Oh yeah, he done one of the greatest things you can do in club football. It's overrated.
Well, and also on top of that as well, those that would say be against Thomas Tuchel will say, but Erik ten Hag beat Pep Guardiola in a final. Exactly what Thomas Tuchel did in a Champions League final. But they're different.
With Kai Havertz and fucking Timo Werner.
Yeah. with Lampard's Chelsea.
You couldn't write this. Honestly, you couldn't write this. You really can't. We're at 747 likes. Be great if we could get to 1,000 at the closing stages of the show. Owen, in this international break, do you feel that draw, they might just, again, I tell you what, the next batch of fixtures are as follows, Owen, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Don't ask me to predict them. I can't do that.
8. No, that's fine. So the next international break is going to be, is that the 10th of November? Yeah, it would be, in it.
Yeah, it's in November.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7 games. And these are the 7 games. Man United at home to Brentford. Fenerbahce away. West Ham away. Leicester at home in the Carabao Cup. Chelsea at home. PAOK at home, Europa League. Leicester again at home in the league this time. And that will take us to the international break. So you can look at that. And this is me, because I want to be fair. I don't want people just saying, you're just talking about one side. I'm asking Owen a question. Those are the next 2, 4, 6, 7 games. Those are the next 7 games, the next international break. More favourable than the 6 before.
Are they?
What? Well, on paper, but what does that mean anymore? But you know what I mean. Is that could he stabilize us then from there? Could he get some results?
No. If anything, that worries me even more, Flex, because we will not win all of those games. There will be, if he does stay in there will be some embarrassing losses in that. Same way this happened last season, wasn't it? Where we went, these runner games are pretty good, and then a couple of them we won. We went, actually, things are going good here. Then it turned into, what was it, 2-1 at home against Fulham. Like, I feel with those ones, there is like a catastrophic, embarrassing defeat in there. And maybe that's what it will take. And I am having flashbacks to Ollie's tenure at United. Because remember, it was like, it got to an international break and it was like, now probably would be the time to go. And they kept him. And it was a couple more defeats. And it was playing against Watford. And they went, actually, maybe this is it now. And then we were scrambling. There is no evidence. There is no evidence to suggest that Man United can go on a run. When have we gone on a run? We haven't gone on a run.
No,
we would go in the last international breaks. We go international break to international break. We were going, well, it's got to win all those ones. Got to win all those ones. And we didn't. And even the ones like in the Europa League. Remember when we were going through those last batch of games? We went, well, FC 20 at home. Take that as read. Won that one.
Yeah.
We didn't. So we can't. That's my point. So we can't do.
You can't earmark any game.
Look at those games. Go, well, we'll win that one. We don't know. We don't.
And plus some shit draws in it, like going away to Leicester or like drawing.
That's what I mean.
To like Brentford. Shit.
That's what I mean. There is no evidence to be like, right, that's when we'll win, guaranteed. There isn't. No. they're just end. And again, that can be pessimistic, negative, or anything like that. But you show me the evidence when it comes to this group, this batch of games, to say that we'll win. We'll win them all. Or we won't lose any of them. It's just there's none. We're 14th in the league, but we'll beat them. And again, this goes back. This is where the standards get flipped as well, isn't it? Because people like negate the standards. It doesn't matter, 14th. But look at this stuff. But also then we go, but we'll win all those games because we're Man United. Yeah. We don't play like it.
Based off what?
Exactly. Based off what? So. I don't know.
That's crazy when I look at the league. Yeah, Bournemouth ahead of us on goal difference. Bournemouth got a better goal difference than us. West Ham ahead of us on goal difference. Brentford ahead of us by 2 points. Forest ahead of us by 2 points. Spurs, Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton.
This is the match. This is also right. So that fella says, "I hope you guys are so wrong." I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah,
I'd love to. I don't sit here, say those things and take glee out of it because I'm not one of those people that wants Man United to lose. I say it because that's what I think is going to happen. Or CH here says there's evidence, but you don't want to see it. Why does it have to be 7 wins or out? You tell me if you're going to wait. Yeah, you're going to go with like clean sheet hype, right? If you're going to wait while we've got clean sheets in certain draws, actually, or you're going to look at how many, is it 3 wins out of 10 games in all competitions, but you're going to go, well, some of those are draws, then again, that's going into standards. You mocked Ollie for saying fine margins, and now we're going, what, fine margins, some of those were draws. Or we're going could have, would have, should have. Well, we could have won some of those games, but we didn't, right? We're 14th. It's not like we're 14th, actually, but we could have been 4th, but we're not. Right? It's not going to jive going through those games where we're going, we didn't win, 5 out of that 7, but we could have, but we didn't. You tell me the positives that outweigh the mountain of evidence of being 14th, worst Premier League start ever compared to last season, which again was the second worst Premier League start ever. It was the record at the time. 5 goals scored, and you want to tell me I'm not looking at the positives, and the positives, are they meant to outweigh the negatives? And if you're saying, well, you can only focus on the positives, they're so minuscule compared to the negatives that you're going to have to look at what's the overwhelming evidence as opposed to what is the lesser evidence. There's none. So again, spare me that's negative, or you're just focusing on the negatives. Well, I'll tend to focus on the biggest thing in the room as opposed to the smallest thing in the room. The house is on fire, but don't worry, I kept the kettle. Well, your house is kind of burning down.
Yeah, you kept one thing out of it. Exactly. It doesn't make no sense. TR33 says, what manager you think can win us the Premier League again? I don't know. It's going to be someone we didn't expect. But I don't think it's going to be Erik ten Hag. Simple as that. I don't think it'll be. So, yeah. It is what it is. We watch attentively. Wait for this meeting on Tuesday. Be all eyes on that. Interesting with this Tuchel situation. I do feel like they might line things up and then they'll wait for the next bad result. I feel like I'm not entirely sure it will happen in this international break. I don't think it will. They need to. They should. They should. But I don't think it will, Owen. What do you think?
What's that about? What will happen over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I do think it's more difficult to call. I said this on the full-time view yesterday. What I will say is what INEOS can't do is what they did in the summer, where it got dragged out for a really long time. I think we'll need to know either way which way this is leaning in the next 48 hours. And you would hope we will, given the fact that they've got those meetings. But if we're on Thursday, Friday this week, and we're like, we haven't heard anything, we don't know what's going on,
as you were,
then that itself is a problem. I think either way, even if they decide to keep him, that needs to be swift and that needs to be put out there. So it's like, right, from a player point of view, from a club point of view, you can at least try and pull yourself together over the next couple of weeks, because the living in limbo doesn't really help anyone. So either way, they've got to act quite swiftly, I think.
Yes, and Jason says, if Tuchel turned us down in the summer, why would he join now? That stuff happens all the time. We don't know the real reason why Tuchel didn't come. Maybe they didn't fancy him. Maybe they thought actually what it cost then versus now, whatever.
Money, yeah.
You just don't know. There's so many factors it can be. We've seen it happen before where teams go back in for managers after. It happened with Conte at Spurs. I'm not saying that was a great success again, but I remember when they went in for him, he said, don't have guarantee of this, and this over transfers. Then they went without him. Then they were shit, and then they went back and got him. So it happens. It happens, Jace. It happens. But thank you for your super chat, bro. Right, there you go, guys. 839 likes today, just under 1K. Let's get to 900 on the way out. You guys can do that. Get another 60 in the bag as we leave the show. Red carpet. Red carpet later on. Yeah, I'm sure we've all got a lot to say again. But red carpet, don't miss that. Alice Talks Football. Adam as well from Forever United. Shout out to Adam. And of course, Saeed will be there. KG, myself, and Owen will be there as well. So do tune in for that. If there's anything during the day, breaking news, of course. Needless to say, we will bring it to you. That goes without saying. And we'll be across all the developments across this. So, yeah, take care, peeps. We're out of here. So smash a like on the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.